What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? I feel like it's been a long time since we've did a live. I think it's been, what, 3 weeks? I think I've skipped the past 2 weeks. Just been crazy. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing good. I'm excited about tonight. I'm going to do something fun and take a drink of water. So, tonight, first of all, I hope you guys are doing good out there. I hope you guys had a good week. I'm excited about this week. Not really any specific reason. Just excited to be alive another week. And got a lot of stuff brewing in the old King's Wild shop. Doing a lot of stuff, doing a lot of projects. I think that you guys, well, I hope you guys are going to like what we do, or I do tonight. And I'm pretty excited about it. So let me give a little context to what we're doing tonight. Because I feel like that I haven't worked on it in a while. And so I think that, some updating is in order to kind of bring everybody up to speed of what we're doing. Hey, everybody in the chat, I see you. I'll do my best to try to answer any questions that you guys have. But I'll go ahead and apologize beforehand if I don't answer it. I'm sorry. But tonight, if you're new to King's Wild, but I'm guessing that everybody here knows something about King's Wild, because obviously you wouldn't know that I was even doing this if you didn't know something about King's Wild. But anyways, in short, I have a playing card subscription called the King's Wild Shorts, and I create 12 thematic decks throughout every month that come out every month. And I am currently working on October's deck. This is my third Halloween deck. So this is my third King's, not third complete year, but third series of King's Wild Shorts. This will be my third Halloween deck. I usually like to do a Halloween deck in October for the October deck, and that's what I am on now. I'm going to switch over so you guys can see my screen, but I want to make a new document so I can draw and sketch. Let's go over here and design. So hopefully you guys can see this. Let me just take some of this stuff out because I don't need some of this stuff. I'm going to pull my layers over here because I'm left-handed. So anyways, audio is choppy a little bit. Man, I hate that. I'm sorry. I don't know why it's choppy. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. And for some reason, I am not technically savvy enough to know why it's choppy. So I apologize. So anyways, so the current idea for the Halloween deck is called this deck called Overbite. And originally the idea was it's basically full of monsters and the theme is just like these monsters with like really big like teeth and like just this kind of gnawing feeling on everything. So like all of the monsters are going to have really big mouths, or you're going to be able to see their teeth in some prominent way. And that's really basically about it. I wanted to do a fun deck of monsters, and the thing that gave it the name Overbite was I had this idea to do this deck of cards that had, because in my playing card subscription, I have three tiers. I have a standard tier, a limited edition tier, and a gilded tier. And they're all the same cards inside, but the standard edition has like a specific tuck case. The limited edition has a different tuck case with a edition number, and it's numbered. And then the Gilded edition usually always has a different tuck case with a lower edition because we make less of those. But anyways, the idea with this is I wanted to do it a little bit differently to where I'm going to just draw here. Let me scoot up here a little bit, making sure you guys can see what I'm doing. So this is the tuck case for Overbite. And for all intents and purposes, I'm going to call this the base tuck case. So this is this tuck case that you see here. And when I say tuck case, if you're new, tuck case is just a fancy word for the box, the paper box that the playing cards go into, because you tuck the cards in the box. So it's tuck case. So this is the standard tuck case. Okay. And the idea for this project was that you would have the standard tuck case, and then the limited edition tuck case would somehow be a two-part sleeve that would go over the top and the bottom of the standard edition. And I'm just going to have these flat edges here just to kind of, so we'll do LTD edition. And this is like the top. And then you've got a bottom part that's like this. And then these parts slide up over and encase the standard edition. So you've got a deck, a standard edition inside, and then you got this other deck that overbites the standard edition. And then lastly, the Gilded edition does the same thing. The Gilded edition is a third tuck case that then overbites that that limited edition. So basically you have a box within a box within a box. And so it was just a fun way. It was just a fun way for me to just change it up a little bit, and I thought it was a cool concept based on the theme of Overbite. Now, the parts that I need to update you guys on is originally the idea was to have, like we see here, the standard tuck case, and then the idea was for the limited edition tuck case to be still the same thing where it, let me just draw it more accurate. The original idea was to get a tuck case that the limited edition fit over the standard edition, like what we're talking about, but that the edge of it would be irregular like this, and then the bottom part would, puzzle piece into that like this. And the idea was to draw a monster, like this would be a monster, the standard tuck case would be a monster, and then this limited edition tuck case would also be a monster, and then these would be like his weird teeth or something like that, and then these would be his teeth. And he's overbiting the monster within, and then the Gilded one would be yet another monster that was overbiting. So I have gone back and forth with EPCC, Expert Playing Card Company, and we've been trying to figure out how to realistically make this idea happen. And through us going back and forth, the part of having a tuck case within a tuck case within a tuck case is no problem. We're going to be able to do that. That really wasn't the problem. The hardest problem was making this. Let me get a red line here. So the hardest part was doing that with this very irregular shape. Not only is it more expensive because you have to have a custom die, but I have a custom die anyways for most of my decks. So that really wasn't the big problem. The big problem was when you have an irregular die like this. What we were finding is that as you engulfed it in another tuck case, if they were made of paper, which most playing card tuck cases, most playing card tuck cases are just made of really thick paper, like a 260 GSM paper, whatever. The problem was the bigger it got, the less stable the box became. And so the first thing that we had to do, we had to upgrade the Gilded box from a tuck case to a box. And what I mean by a box is the Gilded tuck case, instead of being a paper tuck case, is going to be actually a chipboard or a rigid body box with a magnet that fits over the other two standard limited editions. Because it's a chipboard box, that makes the irregular edge basically not workable, because we can give it an irregular edge, but it'll look really, really unfinished because there will be no like paper that's folded, the outer paper that's printed, like the design that's printed on the chipboard box will not be, it'll just be a clean cut, and you'll see cardboard. And I don't really like that. So the update is this from the last time, and there's gonna be people that are disappointed in this, because I'm I'm disappointed in this only just because I thought it'd be really cool to have monsters eating monsters eating monsters. However, I think that I've come up with a totally awesome compromise to still have the heart of the original idea of the deck within a deck within a deck. I think I've come up with a great concept that's a good compromise that has that at heart, but I have to use a straight edge box on the second box and the third box, just so it's structurally excuse me, just so it works and it doesn't look like a bunch of cut cardboard where you can see the core of the chipboard. So what it's going to look like is same thing, where you have a standard tuck case like this, and the standard tuck case is still going to be a monster. So let me just erase this standard here so I can kind of illustrate it. So imagine this being a fun monster or whatever, and he's got his teeth or whatever. You got a monster. So the standard tuck case, the standard tuck case is going to be a monster. And then the second tuck case, the limited edition tuck case, is going to be, like we said, a straight-edged tuck case that fits over, that's made of paper that fits over this one. But instead of a monster, it's going to be a metal box. So like instead of overbiting it, it's a metal box like you're trapping, or you're trying to keep this monster in a box and try to keep him captured. So imagine this being like a metal box. The thing that I remember when I think of this is remember like Jurassic Park, the first Jurassic Park, where they're bringing the T-Rex and he's in that metal box. And then you've got his eye, you got the T-Rex's eyes, or the raptor's eyes looking through, and then you've got the claws coming out. And so this second box, the LTD box, is going to be this beat up metal box, like this cage. Now here's the other cool thing. You're going to have like spray paint, like warning signs all over the steel box. And then instead of having a traditional numbered seal like most decks would, the cool thing about these outer boxes is I'm going to create these fun custom stickers that are almost like warning stickers to like, do not open this box. And so it'll be like warning, monster inside. And then this sticker here, this little warning sticker will have the edition number on it. So, and then not only it'll serve it'll be the numbered sticker. It'll have the warning sign, so it'll go along with the theme. And then finally, it's also going to serve a functional purpose in that it will actually keep the box, the second box, closed. So you'll have the standard deck in the bottom with the monster, and then the limited edition tuck case is going to fit over that, and it's going to be a metal box that is trapping the monster. They'll have warning signs, like we said. And then the gilded box is going to be a crate, a wooden crate that is holding the metal box. And so, and what I remember, and like something I think about this is like in Indiana Jones, where they have the Ark of the Covenant in this wooden crate box. And it's very similar to where like, oh, we got to ship this monster. He's very dangerous, and we've got to ship this monster in this wooden crate. And it's going to be very similar. And it's going to be this wooden crate, and it's going to have another thing, which is like a big warning sticker or something similar. And I might even do this. I have thought about with the wooden crate, instead of doing instead of like a warning sticker, so I'm not like repeating the same kind of concept that I did with the metal box that's on the inside, I may make this really long seal that's like 8-9 inches long, that's printed on like a transparent substrate, and it be a chain, and then have like a little lock. And so I wrap this seal all the way around this wooden crate to keep it closed, and also there'll be like a little tag, like a toe tag or something from like a corpse on the chain that says, monster within, and then the edition number. So that's the idea. And so instead of like a little sticker here, maybe it's like a big chain seal that's like die cut that goes all the way around. So you're going to have a monster as the standard deck. Let me go back to my layers here. You're going to have a monster as the standard deck, and then trapping the monster will be the limited edition deck, which is a metal box, and it's going to look like metal. It's going to I call it battle damage. It's going to be a metal box that's all beat up. And then the Gilded edition is going to be the wooden crate with like brands and blood and claw marks and stuff on it. And also, I forgot to tell you that the Gilded box, that's the wooden crate, will be a cardboard, chipboard, rigid body box instead of a paper tuck case. So it's going to be substantial, and it's going to have some body to it. So that kind of brings you up to speed. And so what we're going to work on tonight is the outer Gilded box. That is, yes, this is the October deck for the subs. So what we're going to work on tonight is the Gilded box. And I've already done some work on it, and I've already kind of created my base, my wood crate base, kind of cartoony painted wood crate base. And let me see. Yeah, this is a very expensive deck. I'm finding that my margins on the subscriptions are just continuing to, let's just say, get smaller. So let me just group this so I can show you. So this is the die line. I think you can see that. Yeah, you can see that. So this is the die line for the outer rigid body Gilded box or Gilded tuck cased. And then this is kind of the base that I've got started. And as you can see, this part, let me circle it. This part up here, that's the top part, and then this part is the bottom part. So you kind of have to think of it three-dimensionally where, like this, this is the front right here. These are the sides. This is the top. This is the back. Front, back, side, bottom. Okay. So that's what we're doing. So one of the things that I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you, I think this is interesting, and I think this is different than some of the stuff that I do, when I'm like drawing. This is very much like I call this like, I mean, it's still drawing and it's still painting, but I call this, you know, from my gaming background and my 3D background, I call this like texture painting, to where I'm trying to create something that looks, it doesn't have to look photorealistic, because this is not going to look photorealistic, because I want it to have that kind of black line, black outline, cartoony look that the court cards have. And so what I'm going to be doing is just showing you simple stuff that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to weather this. I'm going to weather it, make it look damaged, make it look scratched, make it look dinged up. I'm going to put some like stencils on it, or like warning signs, put some blood splatters on it. Very, very simple stuff, but I think it's interesting because it'll give you a really good idea of, you know, it'll show you a different part of the process that's not necessarily me drawing, like actual drawing. So, well, I'm just going to go ahead and shut up and just get started. So as you can see, the eye hole is a great idea. Let's start with that. We'll start with an eye hole. So an eye hole is going to be like, you can think of it like a knot that has a big hole in it. So I'm just going to sketch where we could put the eye hole right here. And then I'm just going to kind of sketch what I want to do with it. So maybe looking in here be the eye, and then this is like the knot of the wood. So let's do that. Let's make a eye hole. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this line drawing down. I'm going to go into my base layer, and then I'm going to create a mask, and then I'm just going to, first I'm going to make my background layer kind of a dark gray, just so I can see a little bit differently. So I'm going to go into this base layer, and this is, let me tell you this, I absolutely love my job. It's not even really a job. I love drawing. I love painting. When I say painting, I mean I love painting. My major was drawing and painting, like traditional drawing and painting. But I love doing this. I love having fun. I love being creative. I love having an idea, or in this case, straighter word A or something said eye hole. Do an eye hole. So let's do an eye hole. And I like taking the ideas and making them reality. So let me just make sure my brush, okay, opacity, 100%, flow. So I'm just going to paint in the mask in the shape of the knot. And then I'm just going to erase the wood texture. And I'm not really erasing, because you should never really erase. Erasing is a destructive process. Now, one thing that I like, if you're doing this type of stuff, if you're doing this kind of thing, you can see that I've taken photo reference, and I used to do this all the time, and 3D artists do this all the time, like in gaming. So you take photo reference, whether I take it, scan it, or anything like that. So I get photo reference, and I use the photo reference to create, like when I took all the photo reference of this, the photo reference wasn't these planks of wood in this specific orientation, because I couldn't really like put planks of wood exactly in the same aspect ratio and the size as the die line. And so I just take pictures or scan or whatever, pictures of wood, and then I go in and then shape it and put them where I want to go, put them where I want to be, and then I add the shadow lines and stuff like that. But the reason why I say that is to make this, it's not that I want it to look photoreal, but I want it to look believable. And part of the thing of making it believable is if you look at this eye hole or this knot, do you see these, let me make a little red line so you know what I'm talking about. When you're doing this kind of stuff, notice the wood grain, the black lines of the wood grain. I want to use that wood grain, and when I'm creating this hole, I want to accentuate that wood grain with the hole, because that's kind of what would happen naturally. And that also will make this hole that I put in there more believable. You know what I think? I actually think I'm going to do something different. I'm going to take it even a step further. If I look at one of these, like another one of these actual knots, like look at this one right here. You see how this wood grain, you have the knot right here, but then the wood grain is almost like a river that goes around that knot. Let's take it a further, and let's, around this eye hole, let's manipulate this existing wood grain to kind of bend around this knot so that it really looks believable. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this line drawing because I know where it's at and I know what I want to do. And so I'm going to go to this layer that has the wood grain, and I'm just going to select this area here and duplicate it just so I've got something to work with. I'm going to make it, I'm going to bring down the opacity a little bit. Now I'm going to go Edit, Puppet Warp. Now I've said this before when I'm doing this thing. I used to teach Photoshop at a school of art in Hollywood, at a special effects school. And so if you're going to hear me say, I'm going to click Edit, if you hear me talking what I'm doing, it's only because it's just kind of it's just habit of me telling students what I'm doing. So what I've done is I've created a puppet, what's called a puppet warp, and it tessellates the image, and it creates a mesh that then I can pin, and I've put these 6 pins, and the pins are telling the image. If I put a pin down, that is me telling the image in this tessellated mesh, I want you to stay still. I don't want you to move. So now what you could watch what happens. If I click a pin and drag, it pulls that mesh, and then you can also see that it pulls the image underneath. And so it's almost it almost makes the image itself like a piece of fabric or something that I can then push and stretch. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the existing image. I'm going to duplicate it twice so I've got it, because I'm going to do the top and the bottom separately. I'm going to go Edit, Puppet Warp. I'm going to add these pins on the side like I have already, because I want that to stay still. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend the image up so it flows around the eye hole. So then I'm going to take from here in the middle, I'm going to go up to about right there, maybe even a little bit more, like that. And then I'm going to come down here like this, and then I'm going to push it a little bit more, and then I'm going to kind of edge. And what I'm doing is I'm using this black line of this wood grain as kind of my guide. Good. I'm going to bend that up a little bit. That's looking good. I'm just going to straighten this a little bit out. Okay, looking good. Now this is not 100%, and I may have to fiddle with it some more. So now once that I've done pushing and pull it, I'm going to hit Enter. And then now I can make that full opacity, and you can see that it's bent that wood grain around that that hole. So, but because it's a tessellated mesh, you can see like right here, I've got like these hard edges. And so I'm going to make sure I save, because what I'm about to do next, well, did I just crash? No. I may have just crashed. Let's see. Nope, we're good. What I'm about to do next, it's saving. Okay. I'm going to go Filter, Liquify. And Liquify is very taxing, and it has a very high probability of crashing. So I'm just going to let it load up the image, and I'm going to zoom in to that area. And now what I can do is I can go in here with like a surgical X-Acto knife and push and pull these kind of hard-edged parts and just kind of smooth them out to where it's not, so where it's more organic. And The funny thing is this area that I'm working with is, I mean, it's literally going to be, I mean, it's probably going to be like a 16th of an inch in size. So I've kind of smoothed out those corners. I can hit OK. It does its thing. Now you can see that I've got a nice bend. Well, I've got a nice bend around that knot hole. And so now what I can do is I'm gonna create me a mask and paint out this part up here that I don't need. Well, that's the wrong layer. That's the layer I want. Mask. I'm going to paint this part up here out. And then I'm going to redraw the hole right here. Now I can accentuate, like I said, let me make this a little bit more. I'm going to accentuate the wood grain like this, and then repaint that hole, that knot hole, just like that. There we go. So now we've got I need to erase this from the original bottom layer. Okay. Now I've got that top ready to go. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fade off this kind of hard edge at the bottom to make my brush soft, and then I'm just going to paint. I'm going to fade it off down here, and then I'm going to get me a textured brush. Let's see. And I'm going to fade off this back part so it kind of fades into that original wood. Now I'm going to have to, there'll be some stuff that I have to kind of clean up right here, but it gets me a little bit closer. Now I'm going to take this mask, delete it, make this visible. Well, let's see here. Here is my second one. I'm going to bring it down the opacity. Now I've done the top. Now I'm going to do the same thing to the bottom. So I can make that. I'm going to pin my edges like that. And I'm going to bring from the center and pull it around the bottom like that. And then bring it back in like that. Bring it around the bottom. Good. Hit enter. Bring the opacity up. Can erase this stuff that I don't need at the bottom. I'm going to redraw the hole. Make me a mask. I want a hard-edged brush. Okay. Just like that. Now, obviously, it looks like crap right now, because now I kind of have to pull this all together. And who knows? That's how I would approach it in the beginning. But you know what? If I end up not liking it, I would just go back and I would just hand draw the wood grain, because that's probably what I'm going to end up doing with all these black lines anyways. And so I want to merge those layers. Now I'm going to take my eraser. Give me a textured brush again. Let's see. Let's do this one. Okay. Just clean some of this up. Now, what I'm going to do is, in the end, all this is going to be kind of like, I have these, like if you look at these black lines, I'm going to have these kind of cartoony lines on the top. And so now I'm going to take this as a base, and I'm going to take these lines here of the wood grain, and then I'm going to like hand draw the wood grain over the top of that that knot. And so in the end, I'm going to like even do more detail where like all the wood, let me see here, flow, make sure okay, we're good. I'll just kind of show you what I'm going to end up doing in the end. Each board is going to have more detail on it, kind of like this. So I can kind of give you the whole picture here. And to make it look more weathered. And I'm looking at the photo reference that I took as my base, like that. And then I can take these lines, and then first of all, I'm going to outline it because this is going to be cartoony. So I want to have this kind of stylized, kind of Borderlands. That's a video game. I did some texture painting on Borderlands. I really like that style. So we're going to take this and we're going to kind of redraw our own kind of stylized wood grain using the original reference as kind of a guide. And also, it's easy for me to cover up the inconsistencies, like the inconsistencies in the texture. Yes, it's a lot like inking, like a comic or something. And I love that style. So, and it's very in line with kind of my love of engraving and stuff. It's just very line driven. Maybe there's a big chunk out of this top that goes in with the wood grain, like that. There. And it kind of gives, let me just draw a little bit more on this side so you can kind of give I can kind of give context to what it's going to be once the whole thing is finished. Okay, there we go. Now, so I've got the base of the hole, and I've got my wood grain painted. Now, if you look right here, there's this kind of light-colored bevel up the top, and that's just basically me establishing a light source. And you can kind of see that the light source is like way up here shining down. And so what I've done is I've created a simple a highlight and a shadow system to where I can really easily establish a light source. But establishing a consistent light source is pivotal in making something not necessarily looking photorealistic, which it is pivotal in creating something that looks photorealistic, but it is pivotal in making something look believable. Even if it's cartoony, making it look believable. So now what I'm going to do is I'm on my highlight layer, and I know that let me just draw a cross section of so imagine this is I'm looking at a piece of wood from the side, so it's a cross section, and say this is a groove in the wood. Okay, this is a groove in the wood. I know that my light source is here, and the light rays are shining down like this. And so that means is, and I also emphasize it more, I don't have to make it realistic the way that real light would act. I'm merely taking realistic physics and then heightening them to really sell this kind of stylized look. And so if the light source is coming down like this, all of these edges here will catch light, and then all of these down edges will catch shadow. And so you're kind of creating this kind of beveled edge look. And so you can see here with this piece of wood, I've got this layer here that's the highlight layer that I'm turning on and off. And that's at the top. That's at the top catching the light. And then down here, I've got a shadow layer. And it's just 2 layers, but look at the difference that it makes. So this is with them off, and just kind of look at the depth of the wood. It's flat. But if I just put these 2 layers back, I'll group them. See how much more it pops? The whole thing pops just by, so I'm turning them on and off there. See how much more depth it gives those pieces of wood, especially in a stylized kind of cartoony way or a comic kind of way. And so that's what I'm doing. Now I'm going to go back to this knot, and I'm going to take all those grooves and all the edges that would be catching the light, and then all the edges that would be catching the shadow, and I'm going to be painting those lights in. So I've got my white, and I'm on overlay, and then I'm just going to come in here with my brush, and I'm just going to paint. My brush seems to be not what I want. So I'm just going to come in here and lightly paint in that highlight on the top edge of all these grooves, because the light would be catching those edges a little bit more. So I'm just going to lightly paint this kind of highlighted bevel edge on the top edge of all of these grooves. And this, you'll notice that I'm just doing in this one area. Know that this would be something that I would do in passes over the entire thing. So I would like do all my black line work first, and then I would go in and do, say, like all of my light colored beveled edges second, and then I would go in and do the shadow layers, third. So this bottom edge is really going to catch the light, and that really sells the fact that this hole has depth. Okay. Like that. There we go. Now I can zoom out a little bit. Let me just hit one right here. Now I can zoom out, and I'll make that invisible, pop it on and off, and see that's already, that one layer is already adding kind of a depth to this. Now I'm going to go to my shadow layer. Let me see what color I'm using here. Let me just sample this color, put on multiply again, and then I'm going to do the same thing again. I'm going to go to the bottom edge and hit all the bottom edges with a little bit of a shadow layer, a little bit of a bevel. And because it's opposing that light layer, it will heighten that kind of beveled effect that it gets. And this kind of top edge would really catch the shadow like that. All these would have a beveled edge to them like that. There we go. I'm just kind of pushing through it here. There we go. And then I'll tie in that bottom beveled, this kind of bottom layer here. There we go. So now I've got that highlight layer, which is right here, highlight layer, and then I've got that shadow bottom layer. And then we've got the makings of our knot hole that we can then put an eye inside. So let's put the eye inside there. What time is it? Already 9:45. Man, we're blowing through this. All right, I'm gonna come over here. Let me make a circle here. Let me that's a good one right there. So I'm going to make a new layer at the bottom. I'm going to fill it, not with white, because the monster's eye would be like very yellow and pea yellow and kind of gross looking. Let's try that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this eye. I've got the size of the eye. I'm going to bring it up over here. And I'm just going to paint me an eye. It'll probably end up looking too realistic. I mean, too humanoid. So we'll see how it goes. You know what? I'm going to, let's see. Okay. I'm going to transform selection. I'm going to bring it down. We'll make a, you know what? Let's not do a circular pupil. Let's do like a cat's eye pupil. Let's see here. Selection, transform selection. Reptilian eye. What I need to do is get some photo reference. All right, so let's do lizard eye. Ooh, that's pretty cool. I like that. Ooh, yeah. All right, let me pull one of these over here, and I'll repaint one of these. That's pretty cool. I do like that. Okay. Let's see here. Which one do we want to use? Let's go with... Let's do this one. I'm sorry. I should probably pull this over here, show what I'm looking at. Okay, let me see here. I like this kind of cat's eye. Ooh, I like this. Okay. I like this. I like this skin. I like this skin a lot. And I like this color orange. I'm going to copy this image. Okay, I'm going to paste it here. I just need the eye part. So, okay. So I'm just going to recreate my own version of this. So I'm going to paint the eye first, the eyeball itself, and then I'm going to paint the little scaly green stuff on the outside. So get my thing. I'm going to eyedrop this orange because I like it a lot. And then I'm going to fill again an orange. And then instead of that kind of circular eye, I'm going to do like a cool, just kind of a cool, weird, but not straight, like little slit, like that. Okay. Good. Now, select that, delete. Now, if you notice right here on the edge, so I'm gonna paint. I'm gonna kind of model the form of this eye. I'm gonna take this color. I'm gonna make me a new layer on multiply. I'm gonna select a little bit darker color. I'm gonna make sure my feather is all the way. I'm gonna hide my selection, and then I'm just gonna lightly paint around the edge. Give a little bit of form, maybe a little bit more, like that. Okay, good. Trying to keep it too simple. I'm trying to keep it super simple. Anytime you're doing this kind of stuff, modeling and painting, you want to keep it super simple and not overwork it. So I got one layer. I'm going to add a kind of a highlight layer with white in the middle, like that. I'm going to bring down the opacity smidge. Okay. Now I'm going to make me another layer on multiply. I'm going to select this layer here, that color. I'm going to go a little bit darker and a little bit desaturated because your shadows, the more they go into shadow, the more desaturated the color is going to be. Okay. Like that. There we go. Now, if you notice right here, on the edge of this pupil, there's kind of like that white, that kind of light area. So I'm going to create that. I'm going to make a new layer on overlay, and I'm using white, and I'm just going to lightly paint in, and I can bring down the opacity in just a little bit. It's not worried about it. Okay, there we go. Get a little bit some irregular. Bring down the opacity a smidge. No, I'm on normal. Let's go overlay. Okay, there we go. Good, good. Now, I'm going to take my smudge tool just to give it some life, and I'm going to drag that white layer just to create some stuff. Now I'm going to go to my dark layer here, and I'm going to pull it in like this, and I'm kind of squiggling it as I do it. So it's not squiggling. It's a very technical term. And all I'm doing now is just adding irregularities in that color, because a natural organic thing like this would not be straight. It would have irregularities and all kinds of inconsistencies. All right. Okay. Now my last layer, I'm going to pull it, do the same thing. Push and pull. Now, I'm going to go over the top to add a little bit more variation. I'm going to make a new layer on multiply. I'm going to select this dark color, and I'm just going to put some spots, some random spots in and around this. I'm going to go back to my smudge tool, and then I'm just going to push and pull these spots into the center and just kind of creating, more form with the colors and textures, but also, because you got these little spots and stuff in here. Okay, good. Like that. Now, if you look here, it may be hard to see, but you can kind of see, if you've ever looked at an iris up close, you've got it's like almost three-dimensional, like this, like these rivers and sinews and stuff. So I'm going to make a new layer, put it on overlay, white, make sure I've got a hard brush. Then I'm just going to draw just the same type of thing, where these random colors to that I'll then go back and smudge with. So I'm going to take my smudge tool and push and pull those. And I'm just creating inconsistencies in that texture to make it look more believable. Now, let's add, see, I like this vein right here. Let's add, whatever that is cool, that dark part. So now, let's add us a vein. So we're going to go multiply. I'm going to select kind of a blood red color, my hard brush, and then I'm just going to draw a vein like this. It needs to be, let's see here. Oops, I had on the wrong layer. New layer, multiply, that's overlay, multiply. Let's go more saturated, but I want to be in color safe. There we go. I need this on top. There we go. Yes, this is a gross monster. And we're really going to have a lot of bloodshot stuff towards the edge. All right. Now I'm starting to fiddle with it, which I don't want to do. Now I'm going to create one more kind of layer with a hard brush just to highlight, just to give it a little bit of stuff. Okay. I'm good with that. I don't want to push it too much. Now, what I need to do is, let me see how big this is. Let me group this. And the fun thing, the funny thing about this is going to be so small. I mean, you're barely even going to see it. And I'm putting it down here, so I don't need to draw that much of the greenness. So I don't have to draw that much of a reptile. So that saves me some time. All right. Okay. So I'm just going to sketch over the top of this. I'm going to select this green because I really like this green. Give me a nice base. There we go. I'm going to just kind of create my own eye. I want to do this in black first, just so I can, because it's going to be in black. Okay. I'm just using this picture of this lizard's eye because I like it. Okay, it's going to come like that. It's going to be a little bit. Let me see here. I want this eraser. Let me erase that a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to draw the top shelf of this eye and the bottom shelf. Like that. Good. This will all be black because it'll be in shadow. And I'll go back and paint. Now let's take the eye, put a mask on it, erase what we don't need. Okay. Now let's paint our base green color. Going to be that one right there. Don't crash. Let me save this puppy. All right. Okay. Okay. My computer's being annoying. Okay. Let me catch back up. Sorry, people. That's a good color. Paint our green color. Our base green. Okay. Now I'm going to take another layer on multiply. Hide my selection, Control H, Control a little bit darker. I'm just going to paint that bottom shelf kind of in shadow. Like that. Then maybe we have another, see, like this has like this one right here, but this will probably be underneath the wood, so it's probably not just wasted time, probably, but I'll do it anyways. Probably the same thing for these as well. These will probably be in the, not even be able to be seen. So let's add that. Okay. Now make me a new layer on overlay. Overlay, I'll use white, and then I'll paint just the rough highlights of the light source hitting that bottom shelf. I do like this kind of like how it gets gray, almost like more kind of fleshy on that inner part. So I'm going to kind of recreate that. And to be really honest with you, like this, for as big as this eye is going to be, you are not, like the veins, all that kind of stuff, you will not even be able to see them. They will not even register. The dots per inch for the printer won't even come close to catching them. It's just going to be a blur at that size. But zoomed out and on print, it'll look like, I need to darken that up a little bit. Control. There we go. It'll just be a blur. So I don't want to spend too much time. Like I could get the veins perfect and stuff like that, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. Overlay. Okay. Now I'm just going to take this, Control D, take my smudge tool, and I'm just going to, because this is kind of the way I've been painting most of these monsters, is this kind of technique. I'm just going to push and pull some of this color. Then, and notice I haven't really done any like big shadows yet, because the shadows are really going to come into play when I get it underneath the wood, which is what I'm going to do next. Okay. There we go. All right, I want to take this, put it outside this layer. I do want it later. Okay, there's the bottom. Let's group these. Group this whole thing. Okay. Now, because literally, like, if I do this view, going back to the print size, I'll hit view, print size. I know that you can't really tell, but that's how big the eye is. That's how big the eye is print size, but I know that it doesn't really give you any context. So I'm going to bring the eye into here, into its place. I'm going to put it on the bottom. Well, where did it go? Okay, I want to put you here. I don't need this. I want you. Why is it doing that? Okay. I want these here and underneath this. There we go. So that's my eye layer. I'm going to delete this. I'm not going to delete it. I'm just going to put it up here. All right. Sorry, I'm just doing some organizing here. Okay. I got my eye. Let's just position it right here. I'm going to shrink it a little bit so we can just see a little bit more of the thing. There we go. Now, it's going to be a dark box, so I'm just going to blast it with some shadow because I know that it's going to be much darker. So I'm going to take a new layer on top, multiply, and just pulverize it with some shadow. And the shadow of the wood on there. Let me soften up these edges here. Like that. Now, I'm going to go back into the eye and put shading around the eyeball itself because I got to put that, I want to put that eyeball into that head or into that eye socket. So I'm going to add a little bit more shading to the eyeball itself. Like that. Okay. Put it underneath. Desaturate that. It's a little bit too warm. Good. Shadow down here. Get my smudge tool. break up that edge a little bit. I'm going to add another shadow layer on top. I'm going to go this color on multiply. Push it even further. I'm going to have to check my brushes. They are not being very nice right now. My smudge tool, just like that. Now I'm feeling pretty good about it, so I'm going to go ahead and merge a lot of this just so it's easier for me to work with. And there's a piece in here that I need to clean up. Just clean up some of the drawing a little bit now. Maybe a new layer on top. Okay. I'm just finessing at this point. Looking good, looking good. Now I'm going to hit the whole thing with a dark just to bring it back because it's super bright right now. And I want to bring it down. So I'm going to color black over it, multiply, and then bring it back ever so slightly. It's almost going to be like a vignette. And then I'm just going to go in really, really easy and just erase, not too much. Bring my flow way down and just erase a little bit. Just that. And now, the last thing I'm going to do is if we look at this eye, to make it seem, to really make it seem like an eye, we want to put this little white, in this eye, it's the reflection of the sky, but it's just the highlight, the specular highlight. And so to do that, I'm just going to, on top, paint a white shape, just like this. Like that. Okay. I'm going to fade the edges off. But I want to keep this bottom edge sharp. Because if you look at this one, there's some parts that are sharp, and we want to do something similar to that. Okay. Bring it down, opacity just a little bit. There we go. I'm going to select it again, make a new layer. I'm going to just paint ever so slightly on the edge with a soft brush. I guess I forgot to turn my system audio off. Sorry about that. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Bring it down a little bit. There we go. So now we got that kind of specular highlight. And then we've got the monster's eye hanging out. Let me save. There we go. And so obviously there's still a lot of work that needs to be done, but it kind of gives you an idea of where it's going. And then I'll just kind of come in here and do a little cleanup like this. Just do some cleanup in here. Okay, there we go. Just like that. Yeah, I'm feeling really good about that. So anyways, there's our eye hole, and that's for Who said that? STR84 word. Straightforward. I get it. I like that. I like that. Straightforward. Anyways, so, wow, it's 10:10, and I just made a little eye. But anyways, that kind of gives you an idea of where this is going. There's still a lot of more work to be done on this. I got to put lots more, like, texturing and damage and stuff like that. Claw marks, kind of all claw marks, blood splatters, all that kind of thing. And I'll probably figure out a way to, like, make the name of the deck, like, Overbite, or whatever I end up calling it. Like spray painted somewhere, like a stencil or something like that. It's a danger. Don't open up. But anyways, so there we go. I will answer. Let me put my pen up here. I'll try to take a little bit of time and answer any kind of questions that you guys might have. Take a drink. All right, let's see here. I'm looking at my... No problem, Brad. It's always a pleasure. Brad, it's always a pleasure. So if you have any questions, while I swallow in the microphone, I apologize. If you have any questions, I would love to try to answer them for you right now. I'm just going to move my chat window right over here in the middle so I can see it. What kind of brush and texture libraries you using? I have a extensive brush library. However, the truth of the matter, is I would say 95% of everything that I do is done with a 12-point round brush that has hard edges. 95%. And then everything else that I use a specialty brush is just like icing at the very, very end. Legal Tender second batch. The Legal Tender second batch is due in Long Beach, California on the 22nd in terms of being when the ship gets there, which also includes the uncut sheets. I would say that the Legal Tender second batch will most likely, our goal is to launch that first part of August. It will not be in July. However, I do have some good news. And if you've stayed around, the 27 or so people that are here now, you're going to get to hear some good news and some cool updates. First of all, got word from the United States Playing Card Company last week that our next, or our second print run of the Federal 52 second edition, which at the beginning of this year was a very popular deck. We have those are finished, and they should be shipping to us this week. I know a lot of people have already got the Federal 52 second edition, but there's a lot of people that are new that don't. And so we'll have those back in stock this month. Paul Timmons asked, do you recommend a drawing glove for tablet drawing? I do. I do recommend that. I know it looks kind of silly, but especially when I'm in this room at night doing this kind of thing, I definitely have it on. But I always wear a drawing glove because my office is really hot, even with an air conditioner going, because I have big computers, lots of monitors, lights. And when I'm doing these lives, I always have the fan off because I don't want it to make noise in the microphone. And I don't want my hands to get sweaty and they stick on the tablet. But also, it just helps the surface of my drawing monitor be slick and slide better. So that's why I wear the drawing glove. Brad, I got my coffee. Now I need a coffee grinder. The weight is killing me. It smells so great. Well, you should get a coffee grinder. That would be good. I hope you enjoy it. I really like it. We've been getting a good response for my coffee. Some other big news, and I'll probably make this announcement in I'll make this announcement in the Wednesday weekly update this Wednesday, but I wanted to go ahead and let you guys know because I want people to go do it, go look at it. We've been getting a lot of requests over the past months, especially in 2020. We've been getting a lot of requests to create our own Kings Wild forum, our own Kings Wild community, our own Kings Wild forum, whatever you want to call it. I have been adverse to the idea. I haven't liked the idea only because having a successful forum is a lot of work. You got to baby it, you got to moderate it, all that kind of stuff. And also, it's kind of hard keeping track of people, and you don't want people being crazy and mean and all that kind of stuff. But anyways, we have had so many requests to create our own forum so people can talk about it, talk about Kings Wild playing cards and stuff like that, that we have created our own Kings Wild version of a playing card forum. Now, the cool thing about the new Kings Wild community, is what I'm calling it, is it's more than just a forum, because what I have learned with people that follow us, what I have learned is the people that are serious, the Kings Wild family, the Kings Wild diehard fans, they know so much about all the decks, all the editions, all that kind of stuff. And I can't always, and the crew, my Kings Wild crew, can't always answer questions as fast as some people that already know a lot of stuff. Now, obviously, that information is not always accurate, but that's okay. But more than not, it is accurate. So we have created a forum that is a part of and an extension of our already very successful and well-received support center. So it's like you have the official Kings Wild support center that the articles and things that are generated there are generated by mostly me and also Amy, and then other Kings Wild crew. So you've got the Kings Wild support center. So I'm going to pull it up on my screen because I want to show it to you and how it works. And it's very rudimentary at this point because obviously we don't have any posts. We have a few. There's that I. So if you go to my website, kingswildproject.com, and you click over here on the menu, you'll see Help Center, but then you'll see a new thing called the Kings Wild Community. If you click on Help Center, it just goes to the normal Help Center where you can type in, questions in here. What is the Kings Wild shorts? And it'll give you, current, like what does the shorts stand for in the Kings Wild subscriptions? So that's our current Help Center. However, if you scroll down as part of our support center and Help Center, we now have this community down at the bottom. But you can also access it by, let me just go back to my homepage. You can access it as well by going to the very bottom under Help Center. It says Kings Wild Community. And this is the bright, shiny new Kings Wild Community and Help Center. And so what this is it's a forum. But it's, like I said, it's an extension of our Help Center. And so what that means is not only is it a place for Kings Wild fans to go and talk about Kings Wild decks and playing cards, it's also a place where within those forums, questions and things like that will be answered by you guys that are pertinent and accurate to questions that we get from lots of people. So if John Doe over here asks, hey, what was the May 2020 deck? And then Jane Doe over here answers that. That is a question that's being asked and an answer that's being answered, and it's pertinent information. And the reason why it's an extension of our Help Center, and I'm sorry if this is confusing, the reason why it's an extension of our Help Center is we can take all of that user-generated content and user-generated information of all those different conversations, and we can like tag it and put it and like put directions to it. That way, if somebody new comes to the website and they go to the help center and they have a question, and I say, what is a table players? Right there. What is table players? And then it will, the more and more content that we have, it didn't really have that much on table players because I don't have anything written on table players that much, but I'll do King's Wild Shorts. What is King's Wild Shorts? So it gives me all these different questions, whether it's an article that I write or whether it's an article that, one of my crew members writes, or if it's an article that one of you guys write as like a topic or a thread, we can tag that and it'll search not only the help center, but also the forum, and it will bring all those questions, those answers to those specific questions based on the searches that are related to that. So it's like taking our help center, our official help center, and combining it with all the conversations that are on a forum and bringing all the answers into one easy place. So like, here's like the first one is like the current King's Wild Shorts release calendar. And then you've got, so like this was written by me, and then you've got all the calendars, and you've got like links to the unboxing videos. And the reason why I want to tell you about it is it's as only as good and as only as useful as you guys and us make it, in terms of like the more questions that we ask or the more conversations that we have about different topics, the better it gets, and the more rich the content and the more rich the knowledge base of the information that it gets generated. And so, and ultimately, it's not that I don't like doing the work, but ultimately that we've created this not only to be a forum because people have been asking for a playing card forum, but also because this helps you guys find out answers to your questions quicker and not necessarily having to wait for us to answer them. Because we do get a lot of the same questions over and over again, and then we can write articles about that in our support center. So like, if I've got subscription questions, I can click on subscription questions. How do I update my payment information for my subscription? And then it'll have the information how to do that. So anyways, long story, long explanation, but I'm excited that we have a playing card forum now, a King's Wild playing card forum. And I would just ask you guys, if you're a King's Wild, King's Wild fan and you want to be a part of that, I invite you to go, just go to the website, go to King's Wild Community, and then just click sign in up here. And like I already have a username and password, but if you don't have a username and password, this is a different username and password than the King's Wild website. This is for the forum itself and the community and the help center. So if you just go on over there and then hit new to King's Wild project and then click sign up, and then that'll create your user in your profile. And if you are interested in being a moderator of some sorts, we're gonna have like fun. Our hope is to, like, I come from a big gaming background, and so we're developing and getting it working, like, experience points and badges and achievement points. And so we're going to have different levels of achievements, for the more information that people contribute, and the more that people contribute, the more experience points, yada, 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 that kind of thing. But if you're interested in being a moderator of, or however you want to call that, a moderator of the forum, just shoot me an email at jackson@kingswildproject.com. Just let me know. I can't promise you're going to be one, because you could be crazy, and I don't want you to be a moderator. But most of the people that want to be moderators, I'm already familiar with them, most likely. And you're also, I also have a pretty good idea of the people that have a pretty good knowledge base of King's Wild stuff. And I'd love for you to be the part of it. So anyways, everybody go there and check it out, the new King's Wild forum, or what we call the King's Wild community, because I always say it, our three pillars are story, community, and purpose for King's Wild. So I think this is this is the next step of growth for us, is creating this more than just a forum, but a really a community that answers questions, has conversations, but also all those conversations. The thing that I'm really excited about this new kind of forum is all of those conversations funnel into answering questions and just creates a library of information that people can search. And it's more than just like going to like a regular forum, like most traditional forums, and like going to the search tab and searching a specific word. It's way more robust than that, where like you can type in specific questions and then it searches that with its AI, and it searches all the posts and all the articles written, and it gives you all the pertinent answers. So yeah. Anyways, that's about it. It's 10:25. Thanks again. As always, I'm going to pull this over here again, the chat window, just to see if I see any questions that I might have missed here. Let's see. Your mic is messed up. Sounds good to me. It may be messed up on your end, and I apologize. It sounds good in my feed. That doesn't mean that it's good all the way around, but let's see here. Will there be an artist proof? Let me go back. I've missed up quite a few here. Yeah, the password, the username and password. The only one drawback with the new forum is the username and password is different than the Kingswald website proper. You kind of have to create a new username and password for the community forum. It's a little bit different. Let's see here. Yeah, you'll need to register again, as B-Dog said. If it already exists, you may just have to try to figure out what your password is. I'm not sure. Let's see here. Also, it could be a thing where our support center, like our support service, like where people email us already, like support@kingswellproject.com. If you've communicated, if you've communicated with Amy or our support crew before, it kind of generates a user for you. But we're still learning a lot, and we haven't. It's kind of like a soft opening in a way, and we're still kind of figuring out the bugs. Let me see here. Will there be an honest proof of Overbite deck that will be sold? I doubt it, because it's so complicated. We probably won't be able to make artist proofs. Let's see. Sorry about my audio. I apologize. I don't know what's wrong with it. Anyways, so yeah, I think that's about it. If you want to be a moderator, or if you're having troubles getting logged into the new community forum, just send us an email. We'll try to figure it out and make it happen. But I'm tired. I'm going to take it. I'm going to call it a night. When's apple pie coming out? I'm not quite sure. I've got it finished. But honestly, the whole COVID stuff has, and I know it probably sounds like beating a dead horse by now, but we are literally still trying to get everything back on track. We're still trying to get everything back on track with everything that happened with COVID. And so I've already got apple pie finished. I've got the artwork finished. I've got the tug case finished. We're just trying to get everything back in order and get going again in terms of production. I don't have a specific date when that's going to come out. Hopefully, it's gonna be most likely fall when it comes out. I'm guessing. It's kind of too late to get anywhere like late August, September. We'll see. Sorry, I don't have more information on that. Let's see. I think that's about it. I hope to see you guys over the forum. Amy and I are going to really hit it hard, and I'm also making all of my crew members be a part of it and answer their questions, and also for you guys to get to know the crew a little bit better too as well. So, all right, I feel like I'm rambling now, so I'm going to call it a night. You guys have a great week this coming week. I appreciate you guys spending some time with me